am so excited for today's video because I am going to be testing a crochet kit from Five Below that is Halloween themed. Literally. The movie Halloween, it's a little Michael Myers plushie. But isn't he the cutest? Oh my gosh. Like, he doesn't even look scary. Okay, it's getting a reflection from my ring light, but hopefully you can see it. He is so cute. He literally doesn't look scary at all, and I'm so excited to make this. So this is from Five Below, and it's like mid-October right now, so I'm hoping I can finish this weekend, and if I like it, you know, if all goes well and I like the pattern, I'm gonna go back and buy the other ones too, because they had like a whole series. There was this one, Michael Myers, obviously, there was Jason and Pennywise, and I think there might have been one more, but I can't remember because it was a while ago when I bought this. And it is currently my fall break from college, which is not Thanksgiving break. It's not a whole week. It's basically just a long weekend, kind of like Labor Day, honestly. So I'm hoping that I can finish this weekend because, you know, I've got a nice little break, but I do still have a ton of homework to do. So I'm gonna be working on this kind of off and on throughout the weekend, but hopefully we can get it done. Because also, like I said, it's mid-October right now, and I want to finish it before Halloween, obviously, and have it as a cute little decoration. All right, let's open this up and see what all is inside. It has a little list right here of what all it comes with. So it looks like it should have everything. And basically the way I'm going to judge this crochet kit, kind of like how I judge all the other ones, is I think crochet kits should come with everything you need. You shouldn't have to buy more yarn, you shouldn't have to buy more stuffing, you shouldn't have to buy a crochet hook. It should come with literally everything you need to make this product. Because it's not like just buying a pattern, right? If you're buying a pattern from somebody, you have your own supplies that you want to use for it, right? But this is a kit, so it should have everything. So, we'll see. Let's open it up. Alright, while I'm opening this up, I just want to acknowledge how cool this box is. Like, all the designs on it. You've got the blood on the other side, then the little back with another picture of him. Alright, now let's actually open it up. And I'm also excited for this because, like I said, there are other patterns, and even if, let's say, I run out of yarn or materials, whatever, which would be very disappointing, at least I'll have the pattern. And so that's kind of part of the reason why I want to go buy the other ones, is because even if the kit itself isn't good, at least I have a really cute pattern and I'll just make it again with my own yarn. But this is the yarn it comes with, and that looks like a good amount. Right, it says, oh, okay, I couldn't find the crochet hook at first. I was like, this seems like all the other little bits and pieces you need. So we've got the 3 main colors of yarn, and then there's a crochet hook and some extra little, yeah, okay, so this yarn is for his little knife. It's, oh, it's for his little knife, so it's those colors, the gray and the red and the black. It honestly does look like they gave us enough yarn, hopefully. Alright, so let's go through everything. This, I'm assuming both of these are the instructions. This one is just like the abbreviations and then basically telling you how to do each of the stitches, which is helpful if you like written instructions. But I know the first time, like when I first started learning how to crochet and I tried to do it based off a crochet kit, I did not understand written instructions. I had to watch a video of somebody doing it. But if you already know how to do the stitches, or at least somewhat know how to do, this might be a good little refresher. So that's nice. And then, okay, I'm not gonna unfold this all the way just because I don't want to show the entire pattern, but this is the pattern of it. And then we've got a good little skein of each of these 3 main colors. This is the stuffing, which doesn't seem like a lot, but if it is a small plushie, which I'm assuming it should be, especially since it's made out of acrylic yarn that's, you know, pretty thin like this, then hopefully this will be enough. And then here's our little bag of extra little things. So we have a 3.5mm crochet hook, and then there is a little yarn needle, which I'm glad they included, but I kind of want to use my own because One thing that annoys me about these plastic ones like this is the eye is bigger than the actual needle, and so sometimes it'll kind of like stretch your stitches when you're using it. No, but you know what? I will use it just for the purposes of testing this crochet kit. I will use only the things that it comes with. So this is the yarn that's going to be used for his little knife in his hand. It's going to be a small, just little flat knife. So I have high hopes. I have high hopes that I will not run out of yarn. Fingers crossed. But all right, now that we have everything we need, I am gonna just get comfy, cozy. I've got the fall vibes going, obviously, with my little pumpkin blanket I set up as a background. Fall squishmallow. I think it's supposed to be apple cider, but I like to say it's a pumpkin spice latte. I don't drink apple cider, I drink pumpkin spice lattes. So, my little fall themed squishmallow, and then I've got a fall candle I'm gonna burn. You know, I've got all the fall vibes going on right now. Oh, I've even got another fall blanket. I've just got all the fall blankets around me. Even my dog. Look at him. He's all cuddled up in my, that's my little like horror movie Halloween blanket. He's so cute. And then I've also got this blanket that has a bunch of dogs on it in Halloween costumes. It's so cute. I love it. Anyway, clearly very fall vibes. So I'm gonna turn on a show or something. Ooh, I'm gonna watch Gilmore Girls. I started watching Gilmore Girls last year and did not finish the show, but I got a few seasons in and it's low-key not my favorite anymore. The first couple seasons were really good, but it's like I'm not, they're losing me. I'm not as much of a fan anymore, but I'm gonna pick it back up because Gilmore Girls is like the ultimate fall show. So I'm gonna pick it back up and I'm gonna watch it while I start my next little project, and I will let you know how it goes.
Hello? We gotta talk mail. Not again. It's all for you. Every piece. I mean, how can that be? You only have to live here.
Okay, it's been a minute, and honestly, I did not get nearly as much work done as I wanted to. This was supposed to be a chill day, and I ended up doing a bunch of things. So I started with the head because that's the first thing listed in the pattern, and I guess I'm like halfway done. It's 8 o'clock. It's 8:10, and I am actually about to leave to go to a haunted house. I don't know why every time I think I'm gonna have just like a chill day, not do much at all, I end up doing stuff anyway. So yeah, but I can't say no to a haunted house. I love haunted houses. And I've only gotten 3 things done of my homework and stuff that I have to do. I do not need to be doing this. I need to do my homework and I need to not work on this project, but I can't help myself. So yeah, basically I'm gonna have to lock in the rest of the night after I get back. And I'm either gonna lock in working on this project or I'm gonna lock in on my homework. We'll see. I'll let y'all know. Okay, it's the next day and I am almost done with the head. I just wanted to sit here and finish this up before I get started on what I need to do for the day. And I was already getting worried. Now I'm even more worried because that is all the yarn I have left of the white. And there's only 3 or 4 rows left, but they're all decrease rows, right? So we're closing up the head. So I've just got a row of like 3 single crochet decrease, then 2 single crochet decrease, then, you know, you can follow the pattern 3, 2, 1, 0, right? So since it's all decreases, I am really hoping that this will be enough yarn, but I'm scared. And worst case scenario, if I do run out of yarn, I mean, it'll only be like the last row or 2, so I'll just grab some of whatever white yarn I can find of my own, but that is going to be very disappointing, and will definitely lower the rating of this crochet kit, because it should come with everything you need, including enough yarn. Because there's no way, even out of all the yarn that I have, there's no way out of all this yarn and these things and that bin over there, right? There's no way I'm going to have this exact same yarn. This acrylic is very thin. Like, look at that. That is very thin. And even though, yeah, it's white, but there's 1,000 different shades of white. Ain't no way I'm going to have this exact same one. So hopefully this lasts. Fingers crossed. Okay. First of all, ignore that I'm wearing the same shirts yesterday, okay? I'm literally about to go take a shower and change and everything. I slept in it and I wanted to do this first, but I'm about to go shower right now, okay? So don't judge. But I finished the head, and y'all might be wondering how I have this long of a tail. It's because I ran out of yarn, and so I used my own. I don't know if you can tell on camera where I had to attach the new yarn, but it was literally the second to last row, which was one single crochet decrease and then decreases all around. Like, it was literally only 18 stitches. So this yarn almost made it the full head, and maybe if somebody crochets tighter than me, it would have worked out for them, but I feel like I was trying to crochet like as tight as I could, and it's already a 3.5mm hook. But since this yarn is thinner than most acrylic yarn, like all the other acrylic yarn I use, normally I would use a 3.5 for regular acrylic yarn, making amigurumi, something like this, right? But since this one is just much thinner, you could even size down to like a 2.5, probably. Because I want my stitches to be tight. And I know it's not like you can see the stuffing poking out through it or anything, but I feel like the stitches, you probably can't tell that well on camera. You kind of can. The stitches just look a little bit too big. Like, I can stick my crochet hook in this. You know what I mean? I want them to be tight. And so that's why normally, especially if I'm using like chunky yarn, I'm gonna use a 5mm, right? You want to size down your hook a lot. But I mean, I get it. It's just a crochet kit. It's not that deep, right? But I did run out of yarn. And I just picked this one. This was just some random scrap yarn that I had. I actually don't think I've ever used this for anything. But since it is also like a very thinner acrylic, I figured it would match the size better. And honestly, the color, no, I can tell when I look at it, actually. I was going to say the color matches decently. No, you can tell. Oh, you can kind of tell on camera. You kind of can. Right there in the center, that's obviously more white than this color. You can see the color difference a little better. But this is the bottom of the head, and it's going to be sewn onto the body, so you're not actually going to see that part. So I'm not worried about the way it looks. Now let's talk about the stuffing. The stuffing was surprisingly very well packed into here, and so I tried to only use like a little less than half of it. Oh my gosh, I had to fully get out of frame for this to focus. Okay, well, I tried to use a little less than half because I figured the body, like, compared to the head, I think the body will take up more stuffing than the head will. So I was like, I'm really not trying to use too much. And also, before I sew everything together, I've still got this little hole here. So if I do end up having a little bit of stuff, I'm having to record this last bit on Snapchat because my thing ran out. My thing ran out of storage. So, if I do end up having extra left over, I can always stuff some more in here before I sew it together. That's what I was trying to say before my camera cut me off. Okay, I know I didn't give an update last night, so it's the next day again. And the only reason I didn't give another update last night was because I actually did not make any more progress last night. But I have been spending pretty much all day today crocheting. I did wake up late, so it's only been a few hours, but still. So far, everything's been going pretty good. And I will say the only issue that I have with the whole kit so far is just running out of yarn. I'm still not super far in, but so you already know I finished the head. Then the next step was the little knife, and this one so far has been the only part of the pattern that was kind of harder to understand. And I think I changed it slightly because I just felt like it needed to be cinched in a little more right here. So instead of ending on a double crochet, I ended on a half double crochet. You know, I just made it one stitch shorter. So not that big of a difference, but also it didn't really explain how to like connect them. You know, it was like you start with the black and that's crocheted in the round. And then it's like, okay, switch to silver, but then this piece is flat, obviously. That's not crocheted in the round. So, and it just didn't have any instructions for how to actually like connect them good. So I just kind of wung it, just did it how I would have done it if I wrote this pattern. But other than that, I mean, the pattern's been fine so far. Maybe if I were to write like my own pattern for this, I would tweak some things. Actually, there definitely would be some things I would tweak because, I mean, you can see the way the body is, right? You've got like the legs and then it's built up and the arms, the head, right? But this is not a no-sew pattern, but it would be very easy to turn it into a no-sew pattern. I'm not going to, just for the sake of, you know, following the instructions, doing the kit how it's intended. But if I were to make another one of these, I would probably have this as like a base pattern and then make my own tweaks here and there. But anyway, I can talk more about that at the end of the video. I just wanted to show you the little progress. So besides the knife, I've also started, I've got the 2 little arms, and that was with the cream yarn that it came with, and I had this much left of the cream. So now that I think about it, imagine if I would have done the arms first, I could have used this leftover cream to finish those tiny, you know, 2 little rows left of the head instead of using my own yarn. But I was going in order of the pattern, so. And then there's also this little neck piece, which I think is the collar of his shirt. So that was pretty easy. And then now I'm starting on, you know, the 2 legs and then the body. So this is the last like main sections, right? So I finished the first leg. And so it starts with black on the bottom and then switches to navy. And then I got to the second leg and I have literally 1 row left of the black, but only this much left. So unfortunately I am going to have to use my own. I do have a random, like this was an extra bit that had cut off from like the tail end of me doing the magic circle on the knife, I think. Yeah, so this is just another little part where I've ran out of yarn. The next 2 main parts I have are going to be the body in the navy color and then the hair in the brown, which like there's a good amount of brown, so hopefully that's fine. And then the navy, where did I put it? But yeah, so I've still got the bulk of the navy left because, you know, obviously this tiny little leg didn't take very much. But yeah, that's how it's going so far. And the next update might honestly be when the plushie is done. And then we'll go over a little review, talk about my thoughts about it. And honestly, even though I have ran out of yarn a couple times, you know, like I said, I probably could have used this leftover cream here. You know, it just depends on the order of, you know, when I make everything. And then even with the black, worst case scenario, your legs would just be short 1 row of black. Like it wouldn't be that noticeable of a difference, you know? It would just be short 1 row. So like, it's not the end of the world because it's almost enough yarn. Each time I've ran out of yarn, it's been almost enough. So do with that what you will. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, I'm giving one last update before we get to the end and show the final product and everything. So I got the body done, and here's what it looks like in comparison to the head. I feel like the head looks kind of big, but also he will have his arms and stuff, you know, so it probably is fine. But I'm working on the hair. It looks a little weird. But this is what it says to do. I've reread the pattern multiple times. I'm doing it right. It's literally like a circle with a bunch of strands coming off of it. And then I'm trying to imagine what it looks like because I'm almost halfway through the circle. But it's like, I'm gonna have to like lay some of these hairs down like this. That's as close as I can get to it looking like the picture. But then that means I'm gonna have to sew it like along there. You know what I mean? Like I'm not just gonna be sewing the circle part down. I'm gonna have to sew these down like this. Otherwise, they're all gonna end up, you know, sticking up like that and looking all crazy. But hopefully I can do a good job sewing it together. And this is the last piece I have to crochet, and I'm almost done. So for real this time, I'm gonna be working on this for the rest of the night, watching some horror movies. So I will officially be done the next time you see me, and we will go over everything. So yeah, I'm basically just finishing up this little piece and then sewing it all together. All right, I will see you when it's all said and done. Okay, it's time for the final reveal. Now, obviously I don't have my fall background anymore. I'm back at college because I literally spent the entire day Sunday working on it. Like, I finished this at like 11 o'clock at night, and I was going to bed. I had to get up early to drive back up to college the next day. So obviously I did not film this at home. But you know, I tried to keep the fall vibes. I'm wearing an orange sweatshirt. So yeah, anyway, here we go. Are you guys ready? Isn't he so cute? Oh my gosh, I'm actually obsessed. All right, this is the final plushie. Here's a little 360. He's so cute. I'm actually obsessed. I will say, the only part that I kind of don't like about the finished product is the back of his head. Why it look like that? Like, it just looks so flat. I would rather it be more like actual hair little things covering the whole thing. That would have taken a lot longer, but still, it would have been worth it. But other than that, this is freaking adorable. So I don't really have a problem with anything else. All right, now let's talk about pros and cons and the rating. Sorry if my camera's a little shaky. I've got my tripod set up on my bed, so when I move a little too hard, it shakes. The pros are pretty simple, but they're also kind of like the most important things. So it's that the pattern is super cute, adorable, and also looks close enough to the picture. Here's a little side-by-side comparison. The only thing that I think doesn't look like the picture is the hair. And now, this is also the only picture. Like, it's the same one on the back, but there's no other pictures of like other angles or anything, so I just kind of had to guess when it came to sewing this on. And now, the rest of it, like sewing the body together, is pretty self-explanatory. But when it comes to sewing the hair, it's just like, basically, you can see it's just like a flat circle with like a bunch of strands coming off of it. So I was like, okay, the only way I can think of is literally just sewing it flat on there. Like, I don't really know what they're expecting. Because also there aren't any other pictures of it. And from this front picture, it looks like there's like less hair on the sides and more on the top in the middle, right? But this, like the way it was written, they're all the same length around. Oh, and I will say, I was getting kind of lazy, and towards the end, like the last few strands, I started going every other stitch instead of every stitch, because I was like, I'm tired of doing these hair strands. But honestly, you can't tell. You would have no idea unless I told you. What? You would have no idea if I didn't tell you that. Oh my gosh, I must have been real sleep deprived when I did this. Tell me why I just noticed I never weaved in that end. That's from me doing the eyebrows, I'm pretty sure. And I never weaved in the end. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Because, like, the hair was covering it, so I didn't even see it. Whatever, we're gonna leave it covered for now. I'm not cutting that right now. Also, when I first did it, his hair was kind of, like, down, like this. Well, it's sticking up because it's been sticking up. But then I showed it to my dad, and he, like, pulled his hair back, and he was like, that looks more like it. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So, with his hair being kind of brushed back, you know, it looks a little more accurate, although I do think the hair could be improved if it was just made differently. So that's the first pro, is just that the pattern is really cute. Minus the minor flaws that I have with it, right? Like, it's still a cute pattern. You get what you're expecting, you know? Then my other pro is that it comes with basically everything you need. And I say basically because I did run out of yarn a couple times. It was only twice, and I think it's just kind of like the luck of the draw, basically. Just because each time I did run out of yarn, which again was only twice, it was only by a little bit. Like, I only had 1 or 2 rows left, but it was like very short rows, you know? And while I'm on this subject, I'm gonna go ahead and show you what yarn I did have left over. Look how much blue I had left. I wasn't even close to running out of blue. Look how much brown I had left. Now, I will say, I did tell you guys, towards the end, I started skipping every other stitch. So there's probably like 4 strands of hair missing. I'm not counting it because I don't feel like it. But this definitely would have been enough, and I still would have had some left over if I hadn't done that, right? So lots of brown. And also, get this, look how much stuffing I had left. That's the first time I think this has ever happened. Like, I actually only used, I guess, a little more than half. Let me, like, pack it in here. Yeah, like I said earlier, that stuffing was packed in here. Because, look, it's not, like, floppy or anything. And I was able to go back and stuff the head a little more, you know? So all the pieces are stuffed to my liking, you know? And I had stuffing left over. So that was great. So the only colors that I actually ran out of, and of course, you know, I have these other little bits left from the, like, accent pieces, right? Like the cream and the knife. But the only colors I ran out of was the black and the white. And it was just a little bit, right? And it's a good thing that, well, one, when I ran out of the white, you're cinching it off. It's getting sewn on anyway, like, you're not going to see that part. So that didn't matter. And then even with the black, like, let's say if I didn't have black yarn, I would have just taken a row off the leg. It would not have been noticeable. So that's why I'm like, I'm counting that it comes with everything you need as a good thing. It basically passes that test, right? And those are the main things that I think you need with a crochet kit, is it's got to come with everything you need, and it's also got to look like the picture, you know, it's got to be a good kit, you know, a good pattern. Even if there's a ton of sewing, that's just the art of the craft, you know? All right, now let's get to the cons, which are not too bad. First con, obviously, I've already talked about, ran out of yarn. But like I said, really did not end up being that big of a deal. Very easy fixes. Even if I didn't have leftover yarn, I could have just sewed off the head a row or two early, right? Same thing with the leg, they would have just been a row shorter. And it overall would not have really affected the look of the plushie, right? So, not that big of a deal. I'm only take off like half a point for that, I guess. My only other two cons, which kind of go together, not totally though, is that it is a lot of sewing. Every single piece of this was made separately. The legs, which you do end up like connecting and crocheting the body like up with it, but so it's like the legs and the body are one piece, then you've got the two arms separately, the knife is separate, the collar of the shirt, I don't even know how well you can see that, but the collar of the shirt, it like lifts up right there, that was separate. Head was separate, hair was separate, like everything was separate. So it was a lot of sewing. And the main reason I don't like sewing is, one, I mean, because it's tedious. Like, I like crocheting, I don't really care that much for sewing. But also because you're not gonna get it perfect every time. Like, even you can see where I like sewed on the neck or the head, he looks kind of a little wonky around his neck area. Everywhere else, I don't think the sewing is an issue at all. I think I did a pretty good job on the rest of it. But you know, that's just how it is. There's a lot of sewing. And then the other one that I said kind of goes with that is that I slightly changed the pattern. So I told you about what I did for the hair. The only other thing I did to slightly change the pattern was the knife, because, so I think I mentioned this earlier that for the bottom I did like one smaller stitch. It was like all double crochets, but then at the end I decided to do a half double crochet because I just think it needed that extra like cinching in. So minor detail. And then it also, this is the only part that I felt like wasn't explained well in the pattern, and that was how to make the knife, essentially. It tells you to do the black part, and then it just says switch to silver, and then crochet, you know, whatever. It tells you the instructions for that. Yeah, all it said was just to switch to the silver color and make the knife and fasten off. And I'm like, what? That doesn't really make any sense, because then it's just gonna be like flopping around. So what I did is, also because the handle was crocheted in the round, so it was kind of like a little tube, right? So you can kind of tell I only used 2 stitches, just like starting the silver and then ending the knife with the silver, basically crocheting through the black to close it, make the thing, and then close it again, right? It just didn't really explain that. I don't know if that's how it was intended, but yeah, I can't really tell that much from the picture. So that was just the best way I could think of to do it, and if I were to make this again, I would do that same thing. I think it looked fine. I think it looks great. But yeah, so just minor little tweaks to the pattern. That's all that I changed about it. It was really not much at all. Now for my official rating of this kit, I am going to give it, hold on, let me think about this. Okay, I've made my decision. I am giving this crochet kit from Five Below. Keep in mind, Five Below. This was like, I actually don't remember how much it was because they have stuff that's more than $5 now, so I'll put the price on the screen. But it's from Five Below. Okay, cheap store. It was not expensive. I am officially giving this kit of this little guy a 9.5 out of 10. I feel like that is such a high rating, and I probably am a little biased, I admit, just because I love horror movies. I love Halloween. I love horror movies. I've always loved horror movies. I'm not even like the hugest fan of the Halloween movies. I do like them, though, especially the newer ones. The newer ones are really good. But he's just so cute. He's so cute. I love him, and like this makes me want to buy the other ones. Okay, I need to calm down. I'm shaking my camera too much. And so I know I feel like I kind of talked a lot about like the things that were wrong with it. Like, you know, me running out of yarn here and there, whatever. But like, even the things that I didn't like about it, which was mostly just me running out of yarn and the sewing, like it was really just not that big of a deal. Like it did not really change my opinion of this pattern. So that's why I literally only took off that little half a point rating just for those little things. But a $5-ish crochet kit, I'm just saying that because I don't remember how much it actually was. $5-ish, cheap, and it is so stinking cute. Yeah, I'm happy with it. I love it. I think it's adorable. The only thing that I wish was kind of different is just the hair, mostly just because I don't like that it's black. I don't even care that it doesn't look exactly like the picture. I just wish it was like more instead of just flat right here, you know? But also, ain't nobody looking at that. People looking at him like this. So I don't care. He's cute and I love him. I'm giving him a little mohawk right now. Oh yeah, he's cute. Anyway, yeah, I feel like I could talk about this forever because he's just so darn cute and I love him. And hopefully I can get this video out before Halloween because I love it. And obviously it's Halloween themed. Like, I don't want to post this around Christmas time. Anyway, yeah, the last thing that I have to say about this, I know I've been rambling, is that one, I am motivated to buy the other ones, and I'm also motivated to write my own pattern for these. Not just Michael Myers, but the other ones too. But I just feel like it would be so easy to take this concept and turn it into no-sew. Like, it's so easy. Okay, you start with the base of the body, and it's so easy to just crochet the arms into it. Then I could crochet the little collar, and then crochet the head from the bottom up. And also, it wouldn't even matter that I'm closing off the head at the top, which isn't a big deal anyway, because it's gonna get covered with hair. And the hair, I probably wouldn't do like this. I would crochet it into it, like attach my hook with the yarn, and then like chain up, and then chain down over and over and over again to make the hair. Like, I just feel like it would be so easy to turn it into no-sew. The only thing you would have to sew on would be the knife. But also, the knife can be optional. You don't necessarily have to do the knife, you know? But it's such an easy thing. That knife was the quickest bit of sewing for all of it. So, yeah. And then obviously, if you want to do eyebrows, you do that. But I don't really count that, you know? You're not sewing pieces together. You're just adding details. And I guess you don't technically have to do that either, you know? I really want to write my own pattern for this. And I have another pattern that I've mentioned before in previous videos that I'm working on for a cow plushie, but it's that same base, like, body of 2 legs, the body, arms crocheted in, you know, so I could use that base that I already have, but then edit the rest of it to be the head, the hair, the knife, the collar, all of that. So I could fully write my own pattern for this and make it at least low sew. Probably no sew if you don't want to do the knife though. That rhymes. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling about this. Obviously, I love it. I literally gave it a 9.5 out of 10. I think that's the highest I've ever rated a crochet kit. And also, I haven't done a crochet kit that I've absolutely hated, right? And part of it is probably also just because I'm not a beginner, so I'm not struggling with any of these crochet kits. But also, I'm not buying crochet kits just to rate them like from the sense of a beginner, right? Like, I'm not rating how good I would recommend it for a beginner. I'm just rating it in general, right? So I loved this. I 100% would make this again, but with plush yarn. So next year I'm probably gonna make a new one to write my own pattern. We're already halfway through October. No, I ain't doing that this year. So next year. Anyway, that is all that I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you stayed to the end. Comment a little knife emoji or a pumpkin if you're watching this. So it's Michael Myers themed, a little Halloween theme. Anyway, I had a lot of fun making this video. I know I filmed it in only like a weekend, but I had fun. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.